It's football season, and Region 11 football is upon us as well. And
you sound really excited.
I know, it is exciting. We've got college football's not that far away, but way before that, it's high school football. That starts a lot earlier. And so we're previewing what's going on with the local high school teams. It's been a proud tradition of our stations to do the play-by-play for Region 11 schools, and have been doing that for a very long time. Logan High, the longest on KVNU. That tradition started late 30s, 1930s.
Yeah, that dates back to when my grandpa was born.
It's been a long, long time of KVNU carrying Logan High football, basketball, and it will continue again this year. And Jason Walker has assumed the reins of the play-by-play voice for the Grizzlies. So.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming. It's like people say, "Oh, Al Lewis is going to keep doing Logan." No, I'm doing it now. It's like, yeah, I got to take over for Al Lewis, Hall of Fame broadcaster.
No small shoes to fill.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but to shed more light on who Logan High is this year and what their what their plans are, what their goals are, and a little bit more about their personality. We've got their new head coach, and it's always fun talking to new head coaches when they arrive on the scene. Carson Mund is the new head coach for the Logan High Grizzlies. Joining us here in studio, Carson and Coach Mund.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, ready for any questions you guys got for me. So,
all right. So, what record will you have next season? Let's start with that.
The goal is to win every game.
There we go. Good answer.
Good start.
There we go. You're absolutely nailing this interview so far. I guess just kind of first, talk about taking over, the Logan program. Obviously, long tradition of Logan football. Is basically as long as we've had football, Logan football has been around. Now let's talk about taking over, for Logan High School.
Yeah, Logan High. This is over 100 years of football has been played at Logan High, which is incredible. And to take over such a program with such great tradition is a great opportunity for me to hopefully fill those shoes and continue that tradition. So it's been great so far. Sport's been awesome. Kids have been awesome. And so just looking forward to next week and getting the season kicked off.
So you you talk about knowing the tradition. I mean, Logan High has been playing football for over 100 years. And I'm not saying you're that old, that you don't know that tradition, but you know that tradition a little bit, not just from being in the state, but you were an assistant at Logan High at one point. You grew up just down the road. Your school that you played for, you faced Logan before, so you've got personal connections to Logan High.
Yeah, for sure. And I've reached out to Coach Christensen and Coach Favero and talked to them. The biggest thing I think is trying to get those guys back, right, and get the alumni back and try to get the excitement around Logan High football again. And I think the way you do that is getting the guys that have put on the crimson and gold and getting them back into the program in any way, shape, or form we can. So other than that, great tradition. Coach Favero, I had breakfast with them this morning. 5 state titles, Perry Christensen with 2. It's just there's a lot of wisdom that you can learn from previous Logan High football and the coaches that had the seat I have now. So
you grew up in Brigham City. You played at Box Elder.
Yep.
And so you're very familiar with the region here.
Yeah.
And then the history of Logan High as well. And you were on the Logan High staff at one point?
Yeah.
Before?
So I was here with Coach Anderson in 16-17. Just took over when Coach Fair decided to retire and took over and struggled, as you guys know, and trying to do things differently in the right way and continue to striving to, develop these kids into not only great men but great athletes. So
you kind of touched on maybe a couple things as far as, rebuilding the program, maybe getting guys back in, and obviously you mentioned the program struggle. So I guess what's the key to, kind of ending that struggle where Logan's not been like, it's not like they're a dumpster fire. Usually they're around 500.
Yeah, for sure.
But obviously that's kind of short of the goal that you're usually trying to get to.
Yeah, every year the goal is to compete for a region title, right? And then beyond that, things go in your favor, things don't. But the biggest thing is the Little League program. That's where everything starts, right? That's your feeder program. That's really the foundation of what you're going to get when, those kids grow up and become 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And so like right now, I think that's the main focus for me in my short stint so far at Logan is to how can we best build that Little League program. Right now, I mean, we lost 35 eighth graders last year in the Little League program, and so far we've replaced and added some to the program. And so, you sit at 90 kids in the whole program. Some things have got to improve there because you go a couple miles south, a couple miles north, and you're looking at 150, 200 kids in a Little League program. So right there is the root that we got to fix, the root problem we got to fix before we start seeing huge achievements again from Logan High School, in my opinion.
That was actually something that I was going to ask as well, is that I understand that some in the last few years here, I don't know how far back has been going on, but there have been times where Logan High has not been able to play or has chosen not to play its freshman team or its junior varsity games just because they're just
pure numbers, right?
Numbers, and like if there's just not availability and holding them over to play for the varsity games as well. That's a challenge. I don't know that a lot of people really recognize that's just tough, and that's something that's got to start at a much younger level.
For sure. And last year they ended the season with just 2 teams, and about 50 or so kids ended playing football for Logan High School last year, right? I mean, 50 kids in a whole program, that's a lot of high school football is numbers game, right? And so right now we have 102 kids on our roster. So I think the excitement is getting kids out, and I think the coaches I've hired and the staff I've kind of built is a huge proponent of that, of motivating kids to come out and be a part of something bigger than yourself, because that's one thing I think gets lost in the shuffle is football isn't just an individual game like some other sports, right? Football is a very much a team game where you need 11 people to play, and everybody's got to do their 1/11 to be successful. It's not give the ball to this guy, or this guy's going to hit a home run, or this kid's going to hit a hole in one. It's different. So
I guess kind of the tough question is, so obviously you're looking for long-term solutions, which very much seems like the right thing to do, but you also have to play football this season.
Right.
So I guess what challenges that present where you're trying to fix things long-term, but you do got to prep the team for a season and obviously try and fulfill some of the goals while also still trying to fix some of the underlying problems to rebuild the program.
Right, and that's one thing about high school football is coaches have to look in the now and the later. Right, I mean you're not going out and recruiting kids and handpicking the kids you want to be a part of your team. You're going to take every single person you can, and so it's the balancing act of spending time with the Little League and spending time with the varsity kids and the freshman kids. And so one thing, we don't have a freshman coaching staff. All the coaches are coaching every kid. Right, and so freshmen are getting coached by the varsity coaches, varsity's getting coached by the varsity coaches, and we're kind of very much intermingling the grades to where we make sure each kid is getting taught the correct thing, getting taught the right technique, and developing at the same rate as everybody else. And so that's one thing. The other thing is like getting the Little League kids as much as the high school as you can. So like right now, every Little League team in Logan is practicing at the high school. Right, and so that's one thing. After practice, go around, shake hands. That's why we do it, and have done that to that model, because now it's easier access for the high school coaches to go and, hey, take 10 minutes, walk around, introduce yourself, go shake hands, slap some kids on the helmet and get to know their names, because ultimately they're going to stay at Logan and play at Logan because of the coaches, in my opinion. And so I think we've done a good job of that so far.
Again, we're talking to Carson Mund. He's the new head coach for the Logan High Grizzlies, getting ready for their upcoming season. And, Coach, how much time did you have in putting the schedule together for this year, or was it mostly in place before you arrived?
It was already in place by the time I took over. So that was one thing that I didn't have to worry about. I think Coach Argyle did a great job at putting it together, and so there's no. I think we got some challenging games. We got some games that we feel like we have an opportunity to win and compete in. And ultimately, the goal is to, like I said at the beginning, is try to win every single game.
Yeah, so I know we spent a lot of time laboring over program building, but I do want to focus on the team.
Yep.
There's some exciting players on this team. I know some, You lost some talent, Andrew Thornley and some other guys on the defensive side. But there are some, returning stars from last year's team, up-and-comers. Can you tell us about a few of those guys that you're expecting to play big roles this season?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of starts at our quarterback position with Keaton Pond. He's improved so much from last year, and his arm strength has gotten better. He's gotten bigger, faster, stronger. He's done all the right things on the offseason to prepare himself for this upcoming season, and, he's the leader of our football team. We're going to go offensively as he goes. We're going to ask him to do a lot with the football and make right decisions and make the proper reads that need us to be successful. And then defensively, I mean, we got our secondary, pretty much our whole secondary back with, Cooper Red, Brock Brown, Connor Peters, the Lazari twins. I mean, we got a lot of returning guys on the back end of things. And so now it's a lot of the focus has been how are we going to replace, guys like Titan Mason or Andrew Thornley or, the O-line that was there last year, D-line that was there last year. Those are kind of been a lot of our main focus so far this fall camp.
So I know with Keaton Pond, obviously, you lost a lot of the wide receiver, at least production, Thornley and David Odd.
Yeah.
You are returning, I believe, the tight end, Cooper Red, I believe, right?
Reed Olson.
Oh, Reed Olson, excuse me.
Very similar, don't feel bad. That was, we're good. I've been through it.
Hopefully I don't get it wrong on the broadcast. So Reed Olson, obviously, some returners, but lost a lot of production. Like, who are some of the guys you're looking at as far as to make that step up as, happens every once in a few years?
We're calling on, Cooper Red, who started on defense last year. He's improved a ton in the offseason. Connor Peters, Skylar Jensen, Allen and Ryan Lazari, Reed Olson, or Caleb Thornley, Nate McAllister. There's some guys that that have prepared themselves to step up and fill those shoes. And Coach Llanos, my receiver coach, Francisco Llanos, I mean, he's worked with those guys since I got hired in February. He was one of the first guys I hired, and he's developed those guys at an incredible rate, in my opinion, to where the receiving core is probably one of the strongest parts of our team.
Coach, as you guys are going to be talking about, this is there's some returners on offense and guys who've been in the system a little bit, opportunities to move forward, a lot more returning experience on the defensive side. But you're more of an offensive guy. You've been an offensive coordinator a couple of different places. You're kind of if I'm not mistaken, going to be the OC for Logan moving forward. But who is your defensive coordinator, and what are you seeing on the just overall how the defense is going to be? Is that going to be one of the strengths of your team this upcoming year?
Yeah, so our defense coordinator is Eric Craig. He's been coaching for a long time. He actually coached me at Box Elder when I was a junior and senior, and then we coached together the year after graduated. And so he's been doing this a long time. He's been on the Logan staff since 2016, but he's done a great job. I think, It needs to be a strong part of our defense. Obviously, I can't, say, hey, this is what's going to happen. We haven't even played a game yet. But I feel like, our secondary, our back-end guys are going to kind of anchor down and allow teams to, struggle offensively to maybe push the ball vertical and do things like that. And we had a great test next Friday when we face a Georgia-offered tight end from Pineview. That's going to be a good test for us to see where we're at.
How would you describe generally, kind of the offensive mindset and your defensive mindset, how you like to line up or generally kind of call plays or how you like to line up and just the defensive scheme or offensive scheme?
So offensively, we're going to switch up personnel grouping. So our base personnel grouping is 11 personnel. Which is one back, one tight end. And so we're going to kind of stay in that as much as we can and do different things out of it. But we'll get into, a 2 tight end set. We'll get into no tight end set. We'll get into different situations where we feel like we're going to have the best advantage. And that's really where it comes down to is, we're going to look at matchups and numbers, right? It's not – I don't think football is rocket science. I don't think, nobody has reinvented a wheel recently, right? In my mind, you're going to put guys in situations to be successful, then it's our job to make sure that, we give them the opportunity to do that. But football is an easy game. Whoever executes is going to win the game. So,
And defensively, schematically?
Yeah, so we're kind of we're 3-4, right? We run an odd front, but we do things a little differently. I mean, we play with 3 high safeties, 2 high safety. I mean, we mix it up. It's going to be different looks than what you see on a weekly basis from other teams, and I think that may be one of our bigger advantages. Is we're not like, you could say like off. If you compare it to offense, like maybe like a wing tee or split back fair, something you just don't see all that often, right? Is kind of the defense that we have in place right now.
So obviously the odds are kind of against you maybe year one, going for the region championship, but just imagine the scenario, we get to the end of the year, you've won the region championship. Like, what do you think would have happened along the season? Like, what would be your...
The number one thing is staying healthy, right? We got to stay healthy, and it's hard to do that. Right. If we stay healthy, I think we got a good shot. But obviously, things have to fall in our favor. I mean, we'll have to dominate the turnover battle every week. We want to control time of possession. We want to do things to where we have the ball in our hands as much as possible, and the other team doesn't. If we can do that, we're going to be, I feel like, right there competing for that region title.
What do you see when you look at this region? When you look at the schools that are here, you're familiar with who they are.
Yeah.
You were here in the mix a little bit. You were removed. Now you're coming back. Like, what do you see when you look at Region 11, the type of teams, coaches, and talent that exists here in Northern Utah?
I see just a competitive region that has some great teams in it. I mean, you work from north to south in the valley. You're looking at Skyview, Green Canyon, very much like a dominant. Like Skyview is one of the top programs in 4A, and then you get to like Ridgeline and Mountain Crest, tough. Like Mountain Crest, like they're going to be tough, right? And tough kids that spend a lot of time in the weight room and are going to be super physical. And then you get the same thing down at Bear River. Just you get competitive kids. That's the biggest thing, is kids want to compete, and kids compete their butts off.
It's kind of looking at the non-region schedule. I know you didn't put it together, but with non-region, there's some philosophies. One of the more popular ones, just play the hardest teams like you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe still having at least some chance to win, to kind of cut your teeth, and then prepare yourself for region play. Do you feel like this non-region schedule will kind of do that for you?
I think we get a good mix. I mean, Pineview is going to be a good challenge for us, and then we welcome the North Sanpete up to week 2, and I mean that's a game we should compete in, and you got to balance it. In my opinion, you want to play some tough teams, and I think we have that with, other than Pineview didn't go, like they went 0-10 last year, but I mean, they're going to be good this year, right? And so that's not like a game we can just show up to and feel like we're just because of what they did last year, right? And then you got North Sanpete coming in, and then we go to Timpanogos, whose quarterback is a very talented kid. Has several offers, and so I think we have a really good balance of challenging and games we should compete and do well in our preseason, and then hopefully that can get us ready for region play.
Well, Coach, best of luck. It's exciting to have football around again this time of year, and stepping into a new challenge. This isn't your first gig as a head coach. We didn't mention you've been a head coach before.
Yeah.
And coming into this, using that experience you had at a higher classification, bringing it to Logan High, and experience on the Logan High staff, so you know the lay of the land, you know the community, what's going on with the Logan High history. So excited to see the new era of Logan High football under Coach Mund.
Yep, thank you.
So, again, best of luck. Those games will be so Logan High games are on KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, and some guy just calling the play-by-play.
Some weirdo. I don't know why you guys hired him.
I don't know. Some schlub. Yeah. So, but, again, Coach, thanks for coming down and spending some time with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.